Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving straight into one of the most exciting and maybe one of the most challenging frontiers in all of tech, the rise of autonomous AI agents.
So let's just start with a simple question. What if we stop giving an AI a step-by-step to-do list, and instead we just give it a goal? What happens when an AI can't just think for itself, but can actually act on those thoughts, chasing a single objective all on its own?
And that shift in thinking is, well, it's everything. A traditional AI is basically a tool. You tell it exactly what to do, step by step. But an autonomous agent, that's more like a teammate. You just give it the goal, the what and the why, and it figures out the how completely by itself. It strategizes, it acts, it learns, it adapts. It's a proactive partner, not just a reactive tool.
This leap forward is kicking off what a lot of people are calling the agent revolution. And the promise here is massive. A world that's literally powered by these smart, autonomous systems. You can feel the excitement for this building practically everywhere.
Look, this is not just hype. We're talking about a colossal economic shift. The global AI market is set to explode from an already huge $190 billion to over $1.5 trillion by 2028. And a massive driver of that growth? You guessed it, autonomous agents.
All that money being poured in, it actually translates to real-world results. For example, a study from IBM found that companies that go all in on AI for their supply chains are seeing 61% higher revenue growth than their peers. That's the kind of tangible, bottom-line impact that fuels a revolution.
So, what does this future actually look like on the ground? Well, picture this. AI tutors giving every single student a personalized lesson plan. Supply chains that automatically fix themselves when there's a storm. Even things like automated management for crypto communities, DAOs, or warehouse robots packing your orders. These aren't just sci-fi ideas anymore. This is what's being built as we speak.
Okay, so there's the promise. But underneath all of that excitement, there's a pretty harsh reality. The way we're building these powerful agents right now, well, it's hitting some really serious, really fundamental roadblocks.
And just how big are these roadblocks? Well, get this. A recent analysis looked at Meta's advanced Llama 3 model. When they asked it to complete common office tasks all by itself, it had a 92.6% failure rate. That is a staggering gap between the dream and today's reality.
You know, as industry analysts put it, beneath the success stories lies a harsh reality. But that poor performance, that's really just a symptom. The real disease is deeper. It's actually baked into the very architecture of how these agents are built.
The core problem, as laid out by researchers at MIT, is centralization. The way almost everything is built today relies on this model of centralized interaction. That means all of it, your data, the AI's processing, the final decisions, it all flows through one single controlling company. A giant gatekeeper at the center of the web.
And when you put that much power in one place, you get some pretty big risks. It gives just a handful of companies the power to censor what we see, to mine our data for their own profit, and to lock us into their platforms to kill competition. And it puts the impossible burden of making massive global decisions on the shoulders of a tiny group of people.
So, if centralization is the problem, then what's the solution?
Well, a growing number of people are chasing what they call the decentralized dream. The idea that to build a better, safer AI, we need a completely new architecture from the ground up.
So, contrast that old model with this one, the decentralized perspective. See? There's no central hub. There's no big boss in the middle. Instead, you have this network of peers, people, companies, devices, all talking and working together, directly. No single gatekeeper controlling everything.
And that's exactly what decentralized AI is all about. It's an architecture that lets everyone collaborate using their own private data and their own resources, without having to hand it all over to some central authority. It's collaboration without consolidation.
Now, to make this dream work, MIT researchers say you need 5 essential building blocks.
The system has to be breachless, meaning it protects your privacy above all else. It has to be trustless, so you can verify what it does without trusting a middleman. It needs built-in incentives, which makes it brokerless. And it needs to be coordinatorless, so it can organize itself, and frictionless, so that it's actually easy for anybody to use.
But here's the twist. In solving the problem of centralization, we create a totally new and maybe even scarier challenge. It's called the governance paradox. If there's no central authority, then who is actually in control?
And this leads us to this wild idea of a self-sovereign agent. It's not just autonomous. It's an agent that exists in a system where literally no one can stop it. Not a company, not a government. Once it's out there, it is, for all intents and purposes, uncontrollable. And that total freedom creates a huge accountability problem. As one group of analysts points out, when these things cause real harm, it can be difficult to determine who is accountable for these actions.
I mean, think about it. Our entire legal system is built on figuring out who's responsible. But with a truly self-sovereign agent, that chain of responsibility just shatters. If an agent causes a financial crash or leaks sensitive data, who's liable? The person who wrote the code but can't control it anymore? The thousands of people running the network? Or, and this is the chilling part, is there nobody left to blame?
So, this is the ultimate dilemma we're facing. In our race to escape the dangers of centralized control, we might just create something that is totally uncontrollable. And as we build this incredible new world, we're left with a question that, right now, has no easy answer. If an agent is truly free, who is to blame when it goes wrong? Thanks for joining us.